Battlecry of Freedom by Ngakma Nor'dzin.
Part 2, the slogans. Slogan 59, do not wish for thanks.
Ö-Dzin.
The rider decides to ride. Do not expect to be thanked for it. There was one field at the trekking centre that grew particularly good grass. The owners would not allow the horses into this field until the autumn, so that they could have a feast before the winter and fatten up a little. One year we happened to be at the livery yard on the day that the herd was being allowed into this pasture. Ngakpa ö-Dzin and I were taken down in a Land Rover to a safe vantage point just by the pasture. There we waited until the gate was opened and the stampede began. We heard the horses long before we saw them. It was an amazing sight. From tiny rescue Shetland ponies and elderly retired horses to the fittest and largest geldings and mares, they all galloped full pelt to the pasture. It was like watching a tsunami. Arriving at the pasture, they cascaded out around the field like a wave breaking and settling and began to graze happily. I believe that horses enjoy their excursions with their riders. I think for some, their relationship with being ridden is similar to many humans' relationship with taking exercise. Horses would quite like to be left alone, grazing in the field and mooching about, but in fact they thrive on being asked to work and through embracing their potential. Riders choose horses that display a natural capacity in particular disciplines. I was once told by a lady who competed at a high level that show jumping horses could tend to be either brave or be careful, and to find one that had both qualities was exceptional. Dee had both qualities, and I know that Dee loved to jump. No one ever forced Dee to take a jump. It was her natural capability and a pleasure for her. My experience of horses is that they cannot be forced to do anything, but that it is their natural temperament to enjoy giving what is asked. The rider judges the potential of the horse and sees what it enjoys and engages that.
Ngakpa Rinpoche says, I used a side pull bosal on Malachi in Montana, but I cut out the rawhide strap and replaced it with a leather band. I did this to prevent hurting the thin-skinned horse. Of course, this plain leather band gave me no control at all. Malachi simply obliged me in my requests. It was all fine until he wanted to take the short trail home. I tried to turn him, but each time I did so, he just backed me into a tree. I knew I could not force him. One cannot use strength against a horse because the horse will win. Anger has never been an option in my repertoire, and so I decided that I would simply keep riding him forward and gently attempt to turn him. I would do that all day and into the night if necessary. On the fifth attempt, Malachi made a movement with his head as if to say, "Oh, all right then, if that's what you really want." Strangely enough, after that, our relationship became entirely problem-free.
During the 3 months when Dee could not be ridden but still needed to be exercised, I would occasionally set up a jump for her in the menage. I would take her in and remove her head collar. It was an inexpressible joy to watch Dee taking the jump again and again of her own free will. She took the jump for the sheer joy of jumping. I am grateful to everything that every horse gave me as a rider. I jumped on Dee more than any other horse I rode throughout my life. I am grateful to her for those experiences. I did not, however, expect Dee to be grateful to me. Why would I? Everything we did together I asked of her. She never asked anything of me. She gave generously and fully. Every horse that allows a rider on its back and responds to the requests of the rider is giving. Every rider must be grateful to the horse. It would be ridiculous to expect the horse to be grateful to the rider.
Ngakma says, I think devotion is more like the tremendous gratitude that comes from having a glimpse of one's own enlightened nature and understanding at the same time that this happened as a result of the Lama.
Mind training is the greatest opportunity it is possible to be given in life. Mind training is the path to awakening, to realize non-duality, to dwell in Rigpa. Practitioners should not ask to be congratulated and thanked for training their minds.
Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche says, don't expect applause.
If it is felt that thanks and applause are deserved, then there is still a lot of work to be done. Such an attitude is not a awakened view, but rather is somewhat ridiculous. Practitioners may feel slightly embarrassed if they notice that they would actually quite like a standing ovation. Wryly recognise the wish for approval and appreciation, smile at the recognition, and return to practice. The reward of practice is the capacity for more practice. Ultimately, the reward of more practice is awakening.